Good afternoon, people. Once again, it is I, George Samuel Fields Jr., here talking to you about some stuff, just a little food for thought about a few things. I know that code's been mentioned a few times, and it's come to my attention that there's a few people that think that there's some code that I did bad. Now, let me tell you, number one, I've never actually tried to be part of here or any of those type of things, and I've never been paid or asked anybody to hear my thoughts or situations. And to all of you that have and still maintain free existence without being trapped in the psychological babble bullshit that exists in society via little girls that don't know much about what the truth is with reality, that are always looking for their daddy to save them and all that kind of stuff, and the children that are trapped in the streets and selling drugs and all those other different things with their parents locked up in prison or doing life sentences for drugs and those type of things. Just keep in mind, here's not anything that I've ever wanted to be a part of and never asked anybody to be a part of. And if it was a military type study, well, they never paid me for it. So I think there should be a lawsuit for that. And anybody else who tries to pretend to be me, oh, you're never gonna get paid for that because I've never lifed anything at all. And that means you, Mike, you that I never lifed. When you said it would cost me my life, I never committed to life to anything in the first place. So I'll just be direct. Terry Brink, I've never lifed nothing. Nathan Nichols, I've never lifed nothing. And anybody else that might say that I've lifed something, I've never lifed anything at all. I'm never committed to any type of groups, gangs, or organizations either. So now that I got that mentioned, the other thing about code, you were talking about code with like oh yeah, and Sean Craze, I've never lifed nothing at all. A certification to drive a vehicle is way different, and that I've never committed to be part of your groups, gangs, or organizations. But now that all that stuff's mentioned, there was a time that this one individual brought me some stuff regarding insurance deal, and about six of my friends was involved in some insurance fraud, which is normal with all the Mosaic fraud that went on, and the tool company in Mulberry that was robbed, and the doubling up on tools at Mosaic and all that stuff and all that information that was provided to me. Insurance fraud really was never a big deal because it was major companies that was committing insurance fraud, so I didn't think much of it. So to find out that you actually committed or somebody committed or was accused of committing a crime where an innocent man was in prison, imprisonated for the fact of a robbery that took place at gunpoint. Now that's entrapment. That's against my morals. So obviously I would never be part of any of that, and I think I made that plenty clear. So there, and I would never give you a 40 on that neither, Terry. I just wouldn't, because not a 40, not the direction that you were asking. I mean, I'll tell the truth and do what's right, but I'm never going to give you a 40 on that direct, because that's just not what I do. I don't play cards, and I don't play plates and all that other stuff. So as long as we got that clear, and then because you weren't involved in it anyways, to the best of my knowledge. Now, the next thing is, you talk about the boat and the propellers and the cocaine and the dogs that ran up at the house, and how my house started getting watched by sheriff's departments for random reasons back in 2010, after y'all poisoned me and had me poisoned for a year and a half while y'all planned to entrap me for whatever fucking reason that you thought was what it was. I guess it was just your mob type of extortion of the government, or you're extorting everybody in the entire country while running a cab. And I've tried to explain that as well. I don't agree with that. And for you to send a boat with drugs when I didn't deal in drugs, and I wasn't using drugs, and the only thing that I was actually taking at the time was pills, to have to best of my knowledge, that boat was not filled with drugs. I parked it at a friend's house, and then a group of guys came like dogs, like canine dogs, looking for the boat. Now that came from Tampa. Now I don't know why that would arrive there and how it arrived there, but I do know that certain people were drug dealers at the time, so they might have been looking for something, and that's just not nice to do. That breaks every code of ethics. And then when I get a little bit of dope from you after not using dope at all for a long time, and I get some dope. Now this was in 2010, and as soon as I leave your residence, the helicopter, the FBI, and the sheriff's department's right there trying to box me in, and I slip out of the vehicle just in time, because if they searched the vehicle, I probably would have went to jail for life, because your vehicle was probably hauling some narcotics that I was unaware of, but I was unaware of it. And then for me to come back to the house and tell you about it and say, listen, the police right around the corner, things look bad, da 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 da, and all those things, and then you to throw another ounce of dope in the closet in the room where you're like, hey, you can stay the night here, just stay in this room, and you to walk in the room and throw an ounce of dope in the closet. Like, were you trying to tell me to get high, or were you waiting for them to raid so that when they did raid, that I would end up getting life in prison, or were you playing the hear game because you knew they could hear what I was thinking, and then you knew when they raided the house that everybody would know that that room had an ounce of dope in it, and if I didn't get prison for life, that the police weren't really after me. Then you know that, right? You know that the police, the only reason that they didn't raid the house was because you planted this shit on me, right? So the fact of trying it to see what it was, because I was like, man, I know he ain't planning it on me. Maybe he just wants me to get high. He's like, hey, you try this dope or something. Well, it was crack rock or something. And anyways, I thought it was powder. I mean, whatever. So for you to do that, and then to actually get upset that I tried it and didn't flush it down the toilet, because obviously the other dude that was actually the dude who was dealing with the dope, the one that holds like his name's on the dope, like he's the one that's actually getting the dope, and he's the one that's selling the dope, and he's the one that's gonna look like the bad guy if the dope comes back bad. Well, maybe he might have known to check it, but it was only a little piece of a rock anyways, and it wasn't nothing that was going to bother anybody because he wasn't there in town at the time anyways. But for you to try to say code of ethic, now let's talk about code of ethics. The motherfucking police was about to raid the place, and you motherfucking put an ounce of dope in the room where I was right before the raid. Fuck you. And fuck your entire plans of every which one of y'all was involved. Now, I just let it go and act like it was no big deal because I had way too much bullshit to worry about at the time and really didn't want to have any more headaches or migraines. But I just want to thank y'all for trying to fuck my existence. And when you read the Osama bin Laden and all that other stuff, oh, y'all were the dope boys talking about dope ethics. And trust me, y'all the ones that violated dope ethics, not me. So there ain't nothing you can say about that, alright?